Okay, so I'm now recording this session. So as I said, I wanted to focus on a few areas that I think are tend to come up with people when they first come into cryptocurrency, and and that focus being on security as well, because it doesn't matter how much money you're going to make in crypto, if you don't fully understand how to keep your crypto safe and the implications of each method of storage, then it could count against you in the long run. So what I have up at the moment, for those who can't see the screen, I have the different ways of storing your cryptocurrency. It's not all of them, but it's the main ones. So what you've got is the exchanges, you have software wallets, and you have hardware wallets. So in terms of exchanges, that's the most popular form, and it's the way that, I'm sure 99.9% of us, that's how we start. We start on an exchange like Coinbase or Binance, something like that. So in terms of the pros, the biggest advantage or the biggest pro is the fact that it's the easiest way to buy cryptocurrency, especially Coinbase. It's very straightforward. It's no different from buying most things online. The disadvantage of buying from Coinbase, though, is it's very expensive, because you pay a percentage for every transaction that you make. So what I normally say to people getting into crypto for the first time is, make your first purchase of £100 or less on Coinbase, but for your second purchase and more, it's very important to, at the very least, to transition to Coinbase Pro, because by the mere fact of having a Coinbase account, you automatically have a Coinbase Pro account, and the credentials that you would use are the same ones. You don't have to re-register again. But straight away, when you start using Coinbase Pro, you have the added advantage of that the fees are a fraction of what you would pay on Coinbase, and you also have more control of the purchase price. So what I mean by that is, when you're buying on Coinbase, you are restricted to the price at that split second in time. So if you happen to be buying it when the price is spiking, what you think you're paying isn't necessarily the case, because what you end up paying reflects the spike in price. Whereas if you're using Coinbase Pro and other exchanges like Binance, Kraken, Bittrex, etc., you have more control over the purchase price. So you can do what you might call a pre-order. So you can say, okay, it was this price 10 minutes ago. I don't want to pay any more than that, so I'm going to buy it at that price. And because it has been there in very recent time, there's a strong chance that that purchase order will go through. Now, that's the advantage of an exchange, the convenient. But in terms of the security implications, which is very important, when you buy crypto and it's on an exchange, you don't have control over that. What the exchange has custody. And I think it's good. I think a good comparison is your bank account. Yes, when you have money in the bank, it's your money, but ultimately you don't have full control over it. If depending on what's going on, the bank can say, like say when there's been an economic crisis, like what happened in Greece some years ago. When there's a crisis and there's a run in the bank where everyone wants to take their money out, the banks restrict how much you're allowed to take out. Now, the reasons on a centralized exchange are different, because in the banking sector, the reason why banks don't like everyone withdrawing all of their money at once is because, depending on your understanding of the banking sector, if everyone was to withdraw their money at once, it literally doesn't exist, because they're busy creating currency, and two, they're busy making money from our currency. They're trading with our money. So, that's one of the reasons why they need notice if you want to withdraw a large amount. And similarly, with centralized crypto exchanges, I've noticed a really interesting pattern. When prices are really spiking and there's loads and loads of excitement, you often find that when you try to log into your exchange, you can't log in, you don't get access. And, now a charitable mindset might say, well, they're overrun, they're very busy, they can't take the influx of demand on, on the website. But a cynical person might say, for example, that, well, if the prices are crashing, they don't want to give you the ability to withdraw your funds. So, it depends on, your perspective on what you might think of that. Whereas if your cryptocurrency was controlled by you, that wouldn't impact you in any way. So that could be seen as some of the pros and cons of having your funds on a centralized exchange. My personal philosophy is a combination of different types of storage. And another thing that I do is I don't rely on a single exchange. I have my crypto spread over various exchanges. So whenever something like that happens, it's never a concern to me. So if Coinbase is clogged up, I can go to Binance. If Binance is clogged up, I can go to Bittrex. If Bittrex is clogged up, I can go to Kraken, etc., etc. So anyway, so that's the disadvantage of exchanges. And plus, there's the other side. So far, I've been talking about reputable exchanges, but what about the more obscure ones, the smaller ones? And with those ones, there's always the possibility that the exchange has been set up with the sole purpose of getting their hands on your crypto. And because you don't have what's called the private keys, then ultimately, if their motives are dishonest, there's literally nothing you can do about it. Before I go on too much further, does anyone have any questions at this stage? Okay, so I'll carry on. So that's kind of like a bit of an overview of the pros and cons of a centralized exchange. A second type is actually saying that my internet is unstable. Can everyone hear me clearly?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I can hear you.
It's breaking up a bit. It's breaking up a bit for me, to be honest. I thought it was mine, but
yeah, I just saw a message saying my internet is unstable. So yeah, but the message has gone away now. Right. Okay. Hopefully it remains okay. Sorry, Kevin was saying, can you transfer funds from Coinbase to Coinbase Pro? Most definitely. So so what you can do is, for example, you can fund your Coinbase account from your bank account. So let's just say you transfer 500 or whatever. You can transfer it to your Coinbase account, and you can log into a Coinbase Pro account and transfer that fiat currency, sterling for the UK, directly to your Coinbase Pro account, and you can trade from there. So yes, it's an instant transfer between Coinbase and Coinbase Pro, and the same applies to any. So say, for example, you had purchased your crypto on Coinbase, you can transfer it instantly to Coinbase Pro, and you could trade it on Coinbase Pro. So yeah, it's a very straightforward transaction between the two environments. Am I breaking up still, Colin?
Yeah, you are a little bit.
Damn, that never happens.
Yeah, me, you were breaking up a bit, bro.
Really? Okay. Can you give me a second, just in case one of my kids is gaming right now? Just in case. Just give me 1 second, because that shouldn't be the issue. But let me just check. Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, one of them is gaming, but that wouldn't normally happen because I've got a decent broadband. How do I sound now?
You sound good.
Yeah. Oh, got sod's law. Okay. Right. Right. So what was I? Where did I leave off? Yeah. So if you, I think I was talking about the dishonest crypto exchanges. So there's always the possibility of a dishonest one where they create an exchange in order to get their hands on your cryptocurrency. And you've got a second type, which is what you call a software wallet. So you have a wallet on your exchange, but you don't control the private keys. Then you can also have a wallet on your mobile phone. Now, the advantage of that is you have more control over your cryptocurrency. No one can stop you from accessing it. And you don't have to go through KYC, i.e. security checks, in order to have funds on it. It's a straightforward thing. Now, but the security implication is one, your phone can get lost, it can get damaged, but the one that a lot of people won't be aware of is you have something that's called SIM cloning. So if someone were to get the credentials for your SIM, they could get a duplicate of your SIM and they could behave as if they are you, which means that they would have access to your wallet. So generally speaking, okay, so my general philosophy is the bulk of my crypto I have in cold storage, i.e. a hardware wallet. I have a smaller amount in a hot wallet, which is a software wallet. And then the funds that I trade most frequently, I do have on centralized exchanges. So that, everyone's going to have a different approach, but that's my approach. If I have a cryptocurrency that I know I'm not trading, to me, there's no reason to have it on a centralized exchange. Possibly on a software wallet, i.e. software that's on a mobile phone or PC. But the safest place is going to be on a hardware wallet. Now, me being me, I've gone slightly overboard. So I actually purchased a second mobile phone that doesn't have a SIM card in it. And I keep some of my crypto on that. So it doesn't go out with me. So it's not going to get lost outside or anything like that. And there's no chance of there ever been a SIM swap because there is no SIM card in it. I just connect via Wi-Fi when I'm using it. And then, I have the option of turning off the Wi-Fi when I'm not using it. So that's an extra layer of security. Many of us may have had an old phone, which normally we might get rid of when we upgrade it. So if you're in the crypto space, a consideration might be to actually keep your old phone, wipe it, and use that as a source of storage for your software wallets. Right, so before I go on, does anyone have any questions?
Yeah, I had a question. Sorry about the background noise. You were mentioning about the fact that, you spread your investments out through different exchanges like Kraken and Bittrex and all that kind of stuff. Does that mean that you, sorry for the simple question. Does that mean that you have the same crypto assets that you can access via different exchanges, or you basically split up your assets and put them in different exchanges?
It tends to vary, but you do tend to find that some exchanges have coins that others don't have. So for example, I like Kraken for dots because of the staking on there. I like Bittrex because Bittrex tends to sometimes have coins that are a little bit more obscure, like one of them being, I think we were talking earlier during the week, Acoin. Acoin is on Bittrex, but to the best of my knowledge, it's not on Binance. At least it wasn't when I was trying to get my hands on it. So you sometimes find that because there tends to be a transition period. What you tend to find is especially with the smaller coins, they start their life on platforms like MetaMask, which that's kind of advanced for a beginner, but I think you and some of the people here know what that is. So because MetaMask is a decentralized platform for trading coins, so you have more control over it, but it's definitely not new person friendly. So what you tend to find is that a new coin would appear on a place like MetaMask, and then as it grows, some of the exchanges would take it on board, but the smaller ones would take it on board before, say, Binance and especially Coinbase, for example, because they tend to have, the least, broadly speaking, they have the least number of coins compared to Binance, for example. So yeah, so if I want to get an up and coming coin, and it's gone past the stage of being on MetaMask, it's likely to be on a site like Bittrex. So yeah, so some coins, just by the mere fact of where they first became available, I might be traded them on a particular exchange. Obviously, Bitcoin will be on all of them, but yeah, some of them that I'll be focused on one particular exchange for that coin. Does that answer your question, or?
Not really. Sorry. Maybe it's the way I'm asking the question. What I'm saying is that you've got different exchanges.
Yeah.
So let me give you an example. So if all the crypto I own is a pie,
Yeah.
are you saying that a few slices of the pie are on different exchanges, or you can access the same pie from different exchanges?
Okay, yes. Yeah, it's different slices of pie. Okay, so for example, let's just say I own 3 Ethereum. I might have one on each exchange, so that way, if for whatever reason one of the exchanges is inaccessible, I'm still able to trade with Ethereum because I've got a little bit on each exchange. And also I see it as a good way of spreading risk as well. So if the unthinkable was to happen with an exchange, and it's not even a case of okay, with the bigger exchanges, the chances of you not being refunded, because the bigger exchanges do get hacked sometimes, but because they're big enough, they can absorb the risk, and you as the customer will still get your currency back. But having said that, depending on the circumstances, it could be that you might have to wait some time before you get it. Whereas if a smaller exchange is hacked, that could be the difference between the exchange making money and collapsing, and they won't be in a position to give your funds back. You see what I mean? So to me, it's just my way of ensuring that no matter, it's redundancy. It's my way of ensuring that no matter what happens, I've always got skin in the game one way or another. So yeah, I don't purposely split it 3 ways depending on the currency. Sometimes it's just sometimes it just evolves that way. But yeah, I do tend to have certain currencies focused on different exchanges, but it's happened. It's just evolved naturally. It wasn't, it's not necessarily just strategically that way, except in the case of Bitcoin and maybe Ethereum. I don't know if that answers your question or not.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah, okay, that's cool. Right, okay, so I've given the pros and cons of the centralized exchange and the hot wallet. And then you've got the hardware wallet, which is the safest in the sense that you have the most control over it, but at the same time, you then have the most responsibility for it. And so what I'm going to do, let me just turn my camera on. Bear with me. Okay, and Am I still sharing my screen? If I, 1 second. Can you guys see my screen? Or can you see my camera?
Yeah, I think you're still sharing your PowerPoint, isn't it? And yeah, I can see you on the screen.
Okay, do you see me now?
Yes.
Okay, right, full screen. Do you see me full screen?
No, you're appearing on the PowerPoint you're sharing.
Okay, 1 second.
On the side of it.
1 second. You can tell I'm not professional at sharing screens, can you? Oh, goodness me. Okay, 1 second. Oh, okay, don't worry too much. Okay, what I was going to show you is the difference between different hardware wallets. I hope the image isn't too small. Right, so you've got one type of hardware wallet. Can you see this one here?
Yep.
So this one's called the Trezor. Okay, and then you've got another one, which is the most popular now. You've got the Ledger Nano, which is this one here.
Yep.
And then you have the Ledger Nano X. Now, so the main thing in terms of security with these hardware wallets is you, under no circumstances should you buy it from anywhere other than their main website. And the reason for that is one, A, it could potentially be a counterfeit, or B, even if it's not a counterfeit, it could potentially have been tampered with before it's shipped to you. So someone could have the ability of breaking the seal, creating a backdoor to the device, and when you load it up with cryptocurrency, at some point in the future, that crypto could be taken away from you. So that's why it's very important to only buy directly from their website. Anyone have any questions in relation to that? Okay, that's cool. And then the other thing that I wanted to also emphasize, and this applies not only in terms of crypto, but even in terms of online banking. So one important thing to, because like if you listen to Kurt Cobain's videos, he talks about using an email client called Proton Mail, because it's a much more secure encrypted form of email. But another reason for that context is the fact that if you're creating a Proton Mail for your crypto, it's not the main email that you're using, because whatever email that you're using, if it's ever hacked, you know, whoever hacks into your account has access to all kinds of personal things, things that may be sensitive to you. But if you're using it as the email for your crypto, that leaves you vulnerable. So I would highly recommend not using your main email account for your cryptocurrency. So again, diversification. I have several email accounts that I have created, especially for my crypto. Any questions at this point? And another thing to bear in mind is it's very important to enable two-factor authentication. You would find that when you're using any exchanges, and it's a good idea to enable that for your email as well. But one thing that can trick people up is to ensure that you back up your backup, because and this is one of the things that I talk about in terms of the vulnerability of a mobile phone. If you've got two-factor authentication on your mobile and you lose your mobile, when you replace the mobile, if you haven't backed up your two-factor authentication, you still won't have access to your crypto. So it's very important that when you first enable two-factor authentication, at that stage when you're scanning it to get the QR code, there will be a long number, a long series of characters at the bottom of it. It's important to write those down and store it somewhere in a safe place, not on your computer, not on the cloud, not for example in iCloud or your Google Docs or anything like that. You have to have a physical copy of that backed up, so that if you ever need to replace your phone and reinstall your two-factor authentication, you are able to do that. Everyone makes mistakes, because I made that mistake once where I didn't back up my two-factor authentication, and embarrassingly, my phone ended up in the, well, it ended up somewhere, and that was the end of that mobile. And because of that, it took me about probably pushing 2 weeks before I was able to access all of my exchanges, because I hadn't backed up my two-factor authentication. So it's one of those things that, is very easy to be complacent, but, I think you should always be thinking, what if? Always think, what if the unthinkable? Okay, what if this happens to my phone? What if I forget? What if this? What if that? So you should always be thinking in terms of, okay, you have a security procedure, but then what's the backup of that security procedure? So hence why I have multiple exchanges. I have my security keys written down, but I don't have them written down in one place. I may potentially have them written down and not just here. So what some people would do is they have their security keys written down, and then they have another copy of it that would be with a trusted friend or a trusted relative. So I think the key takeaway, I think, should be to always be thinking, what if? And if you have that mindset, what if, then the way that you address security is always going to be that much more robust. Okay, right, let me see. So those are the main things that I wanted to cover. So yeah, so really it's open to you guys, really, if you want to ask me anything.
I've got a question.
Yeah.
For the two-factor authenticator, if you haven't backed it up whilst you were setting it up, are you able to do it now?
That's a good question, actually. That's a good question. I'm not sure. I don't want to give misinformation. I think you can with some, but not with all. It depends on what type it is.
Right.
I think you can with some. But I would test it.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry to not give you a definitive answer, but
no, that's fine.
But yeah, while you still have access to it, but then that's a good way of testing, because if you then find that you can't, while you still have access to the platform, you do have the option of disabling
it down, turning it off.
Yeah, and then you can reinitiate it, and then make a point of making a note of the key when you. So yeah. So do you know? Does anyone want to see my keys again? Because my brain is working and I've taken off the screen share. Do you want me to show you these hardware wallets again, or you okay?
I'm okay.
Yeah. Okay. That's cool. Yeah. So yeah, I would test it. So I would see if you're able to see those keys, and if you're not, then disable it and reinitiate two-factor authentication again. But make a note. But resist the temptation to take a picture, because what's happening then, all of our pictures are synced to the cloud, aren't they? Once you take the picture, if someone has already hacked you, You take the picture, that's it, they've got you. So be very careful to resist the temptation to take a picture with your phone.
Okay.
You can save it on your computer because you don't know. See, the way I see it, the more people realize the value of cryptocurrency, the more they're going to be targeted.
Yeah.
And the dishonest people out there are going to rely on the ignorance of people who are in it, but aren't knowledgeable enough to protect themselves from dishonest people. So it's very important to take that into account, I'd say. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
No problem. Does anyone else have a question they'd like to ask?
Hi, I'm probably on mute. You know, we were talking about if someone loses their key phrase,
Yes.
say for Exodus or similar, what's the best way? Or so, firstly, what's the best way to store them? Obviously, Kurt kind of said we need to write them down somewhere safe. But if that doesn't happen, or that happened and you've lost the notebook,
yeah,
how else can you recover your key phrases so that you don't just lose everything?
To the best of my knowledge, you can't. It's yeah, that's basically one of the disadvantages of cold storage. It's vital to make a note of your key phrases and keep it somewhere safe. Yeah, that's kind of why, because if you think of it in terms of the large institutions, that's one of the reasons why they're so slow coming into the crypto space, because they need to ensure that their investment is safe. So they have to go through certain due diligence before they can invest. So what you tend to find is that, say Coinbase, for example, they offer a custody service. So yeah, so you're going to find that for some people, cold storage is too much of a headache, you could say. And so for some people, it's not going to be for them. So I think there's always going to be some kind of service for people that, for whatever reason, because basically you're your own bank. You're the last line of defense. So yeah, I can't overstress the importance of ensuring that you back up your key phrase and you store it safely in multiple locations. Because you may have seen how people talk about waterproof waterproof paper, or even sheets of metal that they punch the characters into, fireproof safes, waterproof safes. So it's kind of like, it's a decision that everyone has to make, possibly depending on the size of their investment. It's a bit straight. Yeah, you kind of have to, your default position has to be paranoid, because but yeah, that is one of the risks. And that's partly why it's good, to my mind, it's good to diversify. That's partly why I have, that's why I've actually got 4 hardware wallets. It doesn't mean I've got a gigantic amount, but because I've got 2 of these and one of these, and then one of the newer version. But that's just my way of spreading risk, and that I don't necessarily keep them here all the time. But yeah, so to the best of my knowledge, yeah, if you lose your key phrase, yeah, it's not a good position to be in, I'm afraid. I could be wrong, but that's my understanding.
All right. Okay. Thank you.
That's okay. Does anyone else have a question? Oh, cool. Yeah, the stone book. That's what Kurt recommended. Natalia's got a stone book and a ghost pen. That's what Kurt Cobain was recommended. So I was going to get it, but I saw the how long did it take to arrive? Because I could only see the stone book shippable from the States, and I think it said it takes about 30 days or something. Am I right on that? Feel free to respond in text if you prefer, Natalia. Oh, okay, 2 weeks. Okay, so it took 2 weeks. Yeah, that is one of the things I'm considering. Yeah, so yeah, the Stonebook and the Ghost Pen, they're pretty good. Oh, cool. Yeah. So yeah, so I don't know if you all saw that, but the Stonebook, it's waterproof. You can't rip it, and it comes with a Ghost Pen, which is I think ultraviolet or something. So when you write in it, it's not visible. So you can only see it if you shine an ultraviolet. Is it ultraviolet or infrared? I think it's ultraviolet. You can only see it when you shine an ultraviolet pen on it. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I suppose 2 weeks isn't too bad. Yeah.
Is he on Amazon or something?
Same thing. I suspect Kurt would say buy it directly from their website.
All right. Okay.
Yeah. I'd lean towards buying it directly from the website. But yes, certainly Ledger and Trezor, you would definitely buy those directly from the website. You know, I mean, with the Stonebook, there may be other alternatives, but I'm not aware of them at this stage. And any more questions? Please don't feel shy, by the way. You can ask any question you like. If I can't answer it, I just say I don't know, but feel free to take advantage while I'm here.
Albert, I think someone asked, how much does it cost?
Oh, sorry. Okay. Okay, so right. So the Trezor, I bought this years ago. I think I paid about 50 quid at the time. So this was about £50. And then the Ledger Nano, so this is the original version. This is generally about £50. Now, this one, you can only store about 3 or 4 cryptocurrencies on it at any one time. And the way that you use it, you plug it into your PC via USB, and it uses a web type interface, and then you can see what you've got. So the thing that people who are new might not be able to get their head around is, although you can only store 3 on it, if you want to store more, you basically, it's a bit like using apps. You could uninstall the app and install something else on it. That doesn't do anything to the one that you've uninstalled. It's still there in a sense. So this one is pretty good for if you're going to, this is for stuff that you're going to go into infrequently. So it's good for that. And it's relatively cheap. But in terms of getting your head around it, your crypto doesn't exist on this. This is just a key that leads you to your crypto, because your crypto is on the blockchain. So this is about 50 quid. This one is more expensive. So this is the Ledger Nano X. This is about, I think it's about £100, £105. I can't remember. So this one, you can store around 100+ different cryptocurrencies on it. So you don't have to be deleting and uninstalling the software for a crypto in order to install more. And the advantage of this one is that you can connect it with Bluetooth as well. So this is more user-friendly, but the way that I am, I'm more likely to put the really, Bitcoin on this because it won't be used frequently, and cryptos that I have a smaller stake on, a smaller stake in, I'd put on here. So if you see what I mean. So yeah, this would be for something like maybe just Bitcoin and Ethereum, and then for other current cryptocurrencies that I might be storing, I'm more likely to put them on this one. Okay, Hyperpay. Well, that's what's called a hot wallet. So I don't know if you caught the beginning, but it's there's actually loads of wallets. So I'm not sure. In terms of a good wallet, I quite like the Exodus wallet. I haven't used Hyperpay for anything other than Hyperfund, so I wouldn't know how good it is compared to others. So, but in terms of security, they're very similar. If it's on your computer or your mobile phone, there's always that slight vulnerability in the sense that if someone hacks into your device, they can hack into your wallet. And that's why I like the cold storage for the larger slice of my crypto, because it's off the grid. No one can do anything with it. So I'm just reading something that someone said. Right. Okay. Yes. That's an interesting. Yeah. If anything happens to you, how do your kids get to your crypto? Yeah. That's a conversation that I've been having. So the way that I see it as my responsibility to actually educate my kids. So that's what I've started doing. It's it's been a little bit tricky getting them interested, but they're beginning to understand the importance and the value of crypto, and they're gradually learning. So one of the first steps I did, I actually got them to join Hyperfund. So they've all got a Hyperfund account. So that's helped them learn in terms of transferring funds to a wallet. So I'm slowly introducing them to that. And I've also, they're aware of where to look for my written down stuff. So I've given them that as well. But I think it's important to, from my point of view, because I've got kids, I want them to know how to access it in case anything, what's the word, in case whatever happens. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Nice. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. You got to let your kids do it as well. So yeah, all my kids have Hyperfund now. Yeah. And it's cool because just by doing that, the process of funding it is very similar to what you're doing on exchanges anyway. So that's part of their education. Yes, I think you can do staking from cold storage, but I haven't done it myself yet. But because I think, and that's one of the reasons why I got this, but I haven't fully explored it. But with the Exodus, because you can stake on Exodus, and I think you can link it to your ledger to do the staking, and I think you can also do it on MetaMask as well, because I've seen a feature on MetaMask where it links to a ledger. So I haven't fully explored it yet, but I think that possibility is there. Yeah. By the way, does anyone here want to give any tips? Because I'm not the source of all knowledge. Does anyone want to share any tips around security that they think might be useful to everyone? Okay, or does anyone else have any questions? Because I don't want to keep you guys for too long either. Let's go for this.
Expensive.
More than one Exodus wallet on a computer? That's a good question. I don't know the answer to that, but yeah, it's but my gut instinct would be, I'm not sure it would be that useful, because it's a bit like I don't know. To me, it's a bit like saying I've got two safes and they're both in the same house. Where to me, it would be better to have, if you're going to have two wallets, it's better to have them in different locations. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure that achieves what you're necessarily after. You can I know, for example, I think you can have different profiles on the same account. So, for example, one of the things I did to get my kids interested in crypto is I basically created a portfolio for each of them on my Coinbase Pro account. So I've got 4 different portfolios, mine and then one for each of them. And it's although it's in the same account, it's a separate portfolio and I manage it like that. So in terms of, yeah, I mean, me personally, it wouldn't be attractive to me to have, even if you can do it, to have the same wallet on the same device. To me, that's not really given any security. If it's for convenience, I'm pretty sure there's the option of having more than one portfolio or profile within the same app. No problem. Yeah, so my gut with that would be to, I would rather, you know, say it's what I said about the mobile phones, you know, a lot of, you know, I would tend to say, you know, when you're upgrading your phone, instead of getting rid of it, you know, wipe it completely and use it exclusively for the purpose of having a hot wallet on it or more. So I would actually say, rather than, you know, just thinking like that. So even if, let's just say you can't have more than one profile on Exodus, you probably can, but let's just say you can't. I would be inclined to install a different type of wallet. So maybe Exodus and another type of wallet, you know, you see what I mean? If that's not a possibility, because on where is it? So yeah, so this is my crypto mobile, and I've got, what wallets have I got on here? I've got the Exodus and the Celsius wallet on here. Yeah, so yeah, that's the 2 I've got on here. Yeah. So yeah, if you can't do profiles, maybe just have a different wallet on it. Any more questions before I go? Okay, so I think that covers it. And yeah, so yeah, thanks for coming, everyone. Though I'm glad there's there's interest. Yeah, for me it's fascinating. So, and yeah, if any of you want me to do something like this again, maybe focus on a different area, I'm happy to do that. Okay, cool. Have a good evening, everyone.
Thank you.
No problem. All right, take care.
Thank you.
Nice one, Albert.
Right.
Take care all.
Bye. Have a good evening. Bye.